to be able to learn is essential to be a functional human.
6, 7 becomes a 9 to 5.
Don't you dare. Oh, that's so good.
Wait till you go to the 9 to 5, baby.
Save our Sundays, no more Monday blues. Save our Sundays.
Welcome to Save Our Sundays, the podcast where we build my teacher rate in public.
Yes.
And we talk about teaching as a profession, AI in education, and we are aimed at helping you become a better teacher and taking your weekends and feeling good about it. That is our game. That is our aim. I almost said that is our game. You've got me in my head with the gang talk.
Yes.
I hope we don't get canceled because of
the
that.
Sunday gang, baby. That's what we are. Save our Sunday gang.
This episode, we're going to be starting up a new series called Questions from the Back Desk. That's what we'll call it. The questions that we as teachers get from students that sometimes come from out of left field and can catch you off guard. And it's just good to have a response in the back pocket. We're going to talk about a few of those.
I'm so curious about this because I'm not a teacher, so I would love to
You
hear
get some
what
crazy
these students
stuff.
are
We're
asking.
opening up with an absolute classic.
Okay.
What am I ever going to use this for?
Yes.
Which you get all the time.
I always thought that with a lot of things I learned in school.
I have an answer. I have an answer for it. I don't know if my students like it, but I think it's a good answer.
I have not used magma, like molten lava, right? Magma.
Yeah.
I've not used magma ever in my life.
Yeah, but when you cook a burrito in a microwave, are you wary of it? Lesson learned. Moving on before we begin.
These teachers are sneaky, man. These teachers are sneaky. They catch you off guard.
Josh, how was your Sunday?
It was good. It was good. How's my week, you mean? Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, how was your week?
My week has been good. I'm trying out a new gym routine where I go to the gym first thing in the morning. And it's been really good because I wake up, Odie is still asleep, Gabby's still asleep, quickly go to the gym. By the time I'm back home, Odie's awake and super happy. Yeah. Gabby's already had her first coffee, and then I get to have, my coffee with them before I go to work. So it makes me feel really good. So it's been really nice. Really nice.
That's how I do my runs in the morning. I try to wake up around 5:30.
Yeah.
I get up, head out, go for my run. I get back. I'm waking up.
Do you have like a torch? Because it's so dark.
I need to get one. Well, because I started running in November.
Yeah.
So this is like my first winter.
Imagine you run into a wallaby or something.
Do you know what? I was running one morning and a possum jumped down from a tree.
Oh no.
And I was like, ah! and
yeah, I would be so
I had this
scared.
interaction with a possum. I'm thinking like, man, I'm wearing like exercise gear.
Yeah.
So, negative protection.
You get rabies by the end of your run.
These things comes at me. What am I going to do? I was ready to punt a possum. I reckon it made my run better.
But how's your week though?
It was good. It was.
Did you do anything fun? Anything interesting?
Yeah. So my wife pulled she calls it a baby sprinkle, which is like a baby shower, except it's for so it's not a full baby shower because our friend is their like fourth kid. So she threw this party, and so everybody kind of in our community, like all the women in the community, like went around and got around our friend, and they did the baby sprinkle, which meant that all the dads just had the kids for the morning.
So what did you guys do?
We all, like, without any sort of, without organizing between us, we were all at the park. so me and Fran went to the park, and we're just hanging out, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's Steve, there's Paul, there's Luke. And all these people
really cool.
come out of the woodwork. And I think the comment was made, somebody said, oh yeah, my wife said that it's going to be, all the dads are looking after the kids. They're going to know how hard it is to take care of the kids. And we were all just there chatting, having a good time. It was great. Yeah. It was awesome. Kids are running around. It was a really good weekend. It was a nice, spontaneous dad gathering.
Yeah. I mean, it's wholesome. So coming back to the question of today's episode, when am I going to use this in my life? So what are the sort of questions you get, Jacob? You're a teacher. You probably get one a day at least.
I get so many questions. Do you know what I need to do? Is that when producer Gabby suggested this episode, I tried to think of some questions, and I realized that I need to actually sit down and start like cataloging them because you get so many.
What's the most common? Do you find the
most common question?
Thread?
Can I go to the bathroom? Can I get a drink?
Yeah, okay.
And there's some students where they ask every single lesson.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, which tells me that they just want to go and check their phone.
Yeah.
But how do you say no?
Are kids allowed to have their phones?
No. No, they're not.
So they still do though.
Yes. They're teenagers.
I thought there would be like a policy where you have a locker and you put
There
your
is.
phone. Oh, but they still have it.
Teenagers break rules.
True.
Teenagers.
True. I would have done the same thing.
Generally, I try and I need to be a bit more strict on this, but if it's can I get a drink, the answer is usually no, because you're allowed to have a water bottle. Bring a water bottle to class. Don't interrupt the lesson. But I think I've been a bit lax on that in term 2. Those aren't difficult questions,
Yes.
right? Those aren't difficult questions. I think the next like biggest question that always gets thrown out is, so when am I ever going to use this? Like, how is this going to be relevant?
Which
to
is
my
a
life?
fair question in my opinion, but I would love to hear from a teacher.
Yeah, we had a comment last week, or the last episode,
About sport?
the comment about sport, but saying like, oh, I've never had to write an essay
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, fair call. You never had to write an essay. Have you had to communicate with people?
I bet.
Yeah. You always have to communicate with people. And I think it's one of those things that on its face, it's a good question. Well, it seems like a good question because you think, why I'm learning calculus. When will I ever have to use calculus if I'm not going to be a mathematician? Something that I invite my students to do when we are learning how to write essays is think about how an argument is structured. So there's something called the Tolman model of argumentation that I really like. Effectively, every argument consists of evidence and a claim, but the thing that connects the evidence to the claim is an assumption.
Is it always the case?
Yeah, think about every claim that you make. There's got to be something that backs it up, some factual thing that backs it up. And then there's an assumption that means that factual thing that leads you to believe that factual thing is relevant to your claim.
Yes.
Something I did recently is we're studying Macbeth in class, and I had students write down their arguments, regardless if they agreed with the position or not. Say, why is Shakespeare still relevant today? And then after they did that, I had them write down the arguments. Why do you think Shakespeare is not relevant today? And then we use that model to examine those claims. So one of the statements that came up, which is a common one, was, well, the language is so outdated. Or it's hard to read
Really
because the language is so outdated. And you say, it's like
reading the King James version.
Yeah. It actually, they're contemporary texts. So King James was the king in Shakespeare's time, or it was one of the kings. Right. So,
yes.
So Macbeth was actually written to appease King James. There's a theory.
Oh, wow.
So Shakespeare's daughter, in fact, Shakespeare's family in that area of Stratton upon Avon, where Shakespeare's from, was big Catholic population. Shakespeare's daughter was a known Catholic, and she had been labeled, I think the term was recusant, which essentially means you put on the Protestant hit list and you could be taken to the stakes, and you're kind of seen as apostate for being Catholic at the time. It was a really rough time. For the church. So Shakespeare's daughter is kind of in trouble because she's a Catholic. So Shakespeare writes Macbeth, which is a play that really, really glosses King James. It's a play all about how it's bad to kill kings. One of the best characters in the play was thought to be an ancestor of King James. One of the prophecies in the play is that character will get kings, his family line will be kings, and then how great he is. And then there's also this obsession with witchcraft, which King James actually wrote a book on witchcraft, called Demonology.
Oh, wow.
So Macbeth was believed to have been a play written to appease King James. And then Macbeth came out, King James loved it. And then Shakespeare's daughter's name was removed from the recusant list, interestingly. Bit of history. Tangent over.
That was really interesting, though.
The claim, though, was Shakespeare isn't relevant. The evidence they used was
the language is hard to understand.
The language is hard to understand. So what is the assumption that connects those two? Is that we shouldn't have to study things that are hard.
You teachers are sneaky.
Well, right?
But it's true, though.
Right?
It's true.
So if you're saying, so we shouldn't have to study this because the language is hard. The assumption is that you shouldn't have to study difficult things. So that's how an argument works. Claims, evidence, assumptions, connecting those. And so when you think about learning calculus, when am I ever going to use calculus in my life? The claim is I shouldn't have to study this thing. I shouldn't have to do this thing because I'm never going to use it. That's the evidence. The assumption there is I shouldn't have to learn how to do things that I won't use again. Here's me just essentially going straight to the issue. And this is the answer I give my students, and we can unpack it. Because I think it's quite a simple response. Maybe you will never write, and I'll speak from the English context, though I think there's a response from the mathematical context as well. Maybe you never will write an essay ever again in your life. You will absolutely have to communicate with people. You will absolutely have to put arguments together. You will absolutely need to be able to think critically. And you'll absolutely need to be able to develop novel skills. And all four of those things are directly applicable to writing an essay, right? And this goes to what we've talked about AI with the act and the artifact, right?
Yes.
The essay is an artifact. Maybe you never will have to produce that artifact again. The act, though, is a transferable skill that goes across everything you do. I love essays. The essence of communication is captured in an essay. The word essay actually means to attempt. You're attempting to communicate an idea, and it is in essence the purest form of communication because you present an overall position. You have 3 shots at supporting that position, and then you conclude by wrapping everything up. And that's just essentially just basic communication skills. As you tell the person you're trying to communicate with, what is your idea? You then present your reasons for that idea being aligned with reality, and then you conclude with the whole argument in a bow so that your reader can then reflect on it.
You've just unlocked a core memory for me from school about an essay that I wrote. And the essay was around, are libraries better than computer labs? That was a question.
Yeah.
And you had to argue which one is better and give your arguments as to why.
Yeah.
So I wrote an essay drawing a parallel between both a library and a computer lab. Library having books, computer having access to the World Wide Web. But I did not draw a conclusion to one being better than the other, but rather spoke about how both can work together. And I scored really well. This was probably the only essay I wrote where I scored really well. And I still remember that. So basically, it just goes to show that being able to think in that manner, again, that is my view. In the classroom of 30 other students, they all would have their own view of what is better, what is not. Some might have said libraries are the way to go. Others might have said just computer labs are the way to go. But everyone has a unique way of looking at that question and coming up with an answer. I agree with you that being able to write an essay, though I haven't written an essay since. I don't think after school I haven't. I mean, I would have written a research paper or a thesis in university, but that's also kind of like writing an essay anyway.
Again, the idea that the essay is the core of communication is everything you write is at some level an essay.
Yes.
And anything that is written well at some level has an introduction to the idea, reasons that support the idea, and a conclusion to that idea. And being able to plan an essay is a core skill for being able to plan just about anything. Like starting with the end in mind, having a position. What do I actually want to land on? Now, how do I get there? We talked about backwards planning, right? It's essentially essay planning.
Yes.
So that's just English. Think about maths. When will I ever have to use calculus? Yeah, maybe never. Will you ever have to think critically? Yes. Will you ever have to learn something difficult? Yes. Will you ever have to do something that you don't want to do? Absolutely. And even if you don't ever use the same skill, there's a value at any stage of life in doing difficult things. Our society has determined that at a school age, you should go through school to learn the basics of what our society expects from a functional human being. And if you decide to niche down and you never touch one of those subjects again, you will at least have some understanding of it, and you have built the ability to learn about other things.
I think this ties in really well with one of our previous episodes where we spoke about how our brains have a very tight budget. And they don't the brain does not like expending too much energy on doing hard things.
Yeah.
And we'd
rather take the easy way out.
We default to, I don't need to do this. I don't need to do this difficult.
Yeah.
But to be better human beings, we have to. We do face problems, like we said, every stage of life, whether you're a parent, when you're a child as well, when you go for a job interview, when you're working with a team, every stage of life, you're going to face problems. And there are going to be difficult conversations that you need to have. So these sorts of things, even though in the moment may not seem like you're going to use it for the rest of your life. It's still training you or unlocking parts of your brain that'll help you do these things later in life.
It's not the essay, it's not the maths assignment that is important. It's having done the essay, it's doing the essay, it's doing the math problems, it's learning. We had a couple weeks ago a very fiery couple responses to an Instagram post.
Yes.
I think producer Gabby very
stitched you up, man.
Yeah, really stitched me up by cutting out some important context. Which I'm not sour at all about. Not at all. I think it was great.
You sound salty. See, my man.
I'm so furious. I forgot what I was going to say. But
there were a lot of comments.
Well, there's comments saying that sport builds resilience. Do you know what else builds resilience?
Writing an essay.
Writing an essay when you're bad at writing essays.
Yes.
Or when you don't want to write an essay.
Yes.
It builds resilience because it's something you don't want to do. You do it. You come out the other side of it. You go, oh, I did that thing.
Yeah.
That's what builds resilience, is doing difficult things. It doesn't need to be a difficult physical act. Difficult mental acts do that as well. So the response to when am I ever going to use this in life is maybe you won't ever do this particular thing again, but consider all of the steps in doing this thing and consider what type of person it turns you into. Education's not just building up knowledge and skills. It's not about turning you into a great worker. It's about turning you into a complete human. Right? So it's not about, will I ever use this in my job? Like, I don't care if you ever use it in your job. I want you to be a functional human being. And a functional human being knows how to solve problems, knows how to argue well. Again, as an English teacher, why do I want them to be able to write an essay? Why do I want them to appreciate literature? Because somebody who can read and reason is somebody who can appreciate nuance and can appreciate things and can argue their points well. They can communicate clearly. And that's what I want. I want you to be a complete person, because if you're a complete person, you'll be able to have options. You'll have all these options about what sort of worker you want to be and in what area. So yes, learn calculus.
I also think it enables you to start trusting yourself. So for example, if you're not good at writing an essay and you want to get better at it, you have to put in the work to practice thinking and being able to plan the essay and write all of that down. And the more you do it, the more you trust yourself and the more you identify as someone who can actually do the hard thing.
Which is why you need to write multiple essays, because the first essay you write is a bad essay. At my school, year 10 is the first year that you have to do a exam conditions essay. So we're 2 weeks away from the mid-years. I'm anticipating that they won't be very good, but they'll be way better than the first essay they did in class at the beginning of the year, because it'll be the second essay that they've done. First essay in true exam conditions, second essay like in class, closed book, handwritten, right? So you do it multiple times. You need these multiple exposures to get good at something.
Yes.
And I think the context that we hear this in class, like the teachers hear this in class, is we give an assignment or we're doing in-class work, and the student, like you said, the brain is very good at just going, that costs too much energy. I'm not feeling it right now. Then that feeds through, the student goes, oh, when am I ever going to use this? Right? As if that's going to get them out of doing it. And the response is that, well, this is building you up as a human, right? You might not ever have to make this sort of artifact again. You will need to use these skills, guaranteed, because these are problem-solving skills.
The act is going to still stay.
Yeah, the act is always the same. And learning is so important. To be able to learn is essential to be a functional human. That's just what, it's what you do.
6-7 becomes a 9 to 5.
Don't you dare. Oh, that's so good.
Wait till you go to the 9 to 5, baby. 6-7, 9 to 5.
I'm experiencing some serious whiplash in my own mind. Just the cringe of 6-7, and then the beauty of turning that into something actually good. I'm going to use that.
Yep. So coming back to how does AI fit into all of this? Now there are
students. Can we just take a moment? I'm just digesting that.
How good was that?
I love that an inordinate amount.
Yeah.
I love that. That's tasty.
Yeah.
All right.
So this generation of kids at schools are the first generation that's going to be using AI, right? We didn't use AI when we were in school.
We used Google.
We did. But AI is a whole other kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Kettle of fish, is that right?
Sure.
Yeah. Can of worms.
It's both.
So what is stopping a student from, giving a few points to the AI and going, hey, write me an essay on Macbeth. These are my arguments.
Yeah.
And then go.
So the next question I think we should explore in another episode, I've been getting a lot, is like, why can't we just do this with AI? AI can do this.
And I will talk about this study that was done in India as we go through this episode, but that was really insightful.
I want to hear about this study.
Yeah.
So Josh has fished out a very interesting study.
From my people.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Had to bring race in there.
You gotta stop this. We're getting comments. We're gonna get canceled. But done on like Gen Z students. I'm keen to hear about it. No!
Sorry. All right, continue. Yeah.
Can't do that, man.
Yes. So AI robs students of effort.
Yes. And this is what I tell my students. So I've mentioned the MIT study, Your Brain on ChatGPT. And the takeaway is very clear that it all comes back to cognitive load. When you are doing something effortful, it's like when you're at the gym and you're pushing weights. I don't go to the gym. I run. I run and then I do push-ups. But it's like when you're at the gym and you're putting on more and more weight, if you overload yourself, your back's going to snap in half when you're doing a squat. But if you don't do enough weight, what's the point of doing it, right? In the same way, when your brain is going through effortful work, you're loading it. That's what we call cognitive load.
It's like a healthy load.
Yeah, the effort that it takes to think about something. And just like when you're at the gym, you can overload your brain with a cognitive loading. That's why you don't try to teach a grade 3 physics, like quantum physics, right?
Yeah.
Because they're not ready for it. The cognitive loading would be just too much. They would go right over their head. But there's something called a germane load, an appropriate load. Yeah. When you use AI, what it's doing, and this is what the study showed, is it takes off cognitive load. You're able to offload the effort of the essay onto the AI. But the problem is the exact same reason why you do lift weights to begin with, is if you don't lift weights, you don't get stronger. So if you offload all of that cognitive load, you don't get smarter. You don't learn anything. You actually need that load, which feels uncomfortable, which your brain is going to tell you is not good. I'm not learning anything. This is just hard. The evidence shows that that's exactly when you're learning something.
Yeah.
When you think it's hard, when you think it's ridiculous, because that is the struggle that builds you up. And so if students are using AI, and I've run into this, it just happens now. It's to the point where I'm trying to make as much of my assessments as possible in class handwritten, because you need to put guardrails so that students are not
if they do the assessment
effort
at home, there's a high chance
it's going to get ganked by AI. Landing the point, so I'm just talking around the issue, is that when students use AI, they're farming off the effort that would otherwise cause them to learn. When you have to sit down and write out an essay organically, even if it is riddled with spelling errors and grammar errors, that is an opportunity to learn and to improve. In fact, the act of coming up with the ideas and putting the essay together is the learning process. That generative act with the retrieval of information is building your brain. It gets to the issue of how do we then prepare students to live in an AI age, which I think is something that students aren't really asking, but a lot of policymakers are asking right now is, all right, there's this new technology. We need to make sure that students are prepared for a workforce with AI. And this, I think, is a really complex issue, because you don't want to teach students to write essays with AI, because then they won't learn how to produce arguments themselves or how to analyze concepts.
Because you're defaulting just back to AI. And a lot of people these days, I've noticed, anything they want to kind of figure out, they're always whipping out ChatGPT.
I think there's actually some good applications for AI in conducting research, in finding sources, because it can pull more content than you can. Like there's some genuine, like, good use for deep research, but I still think it's important for kids to learn how to research themselves organically, so they appreciate what that means.
Yes.
What does research actually mean? What does it mean to look for and find information? But then in terms of how do you prepare students for AI, this is something I want to look more into and actually research a bit. I think there's a few thought leaders in this space that have some really good thinking on this. One of them is our friend Paul Matthews. He's actually got, I think, a really good take on what it means to educate students about AI, because I think it's more than just teaching them how to use it to get stuff done. I think learning how to use AI well is about understanding what AI is, like we've talked about, the probabilities machine.
Yes.
It's about recognizing what it is genuinely good at, and it's about knowing what it's not good at. And then it's about setting guardrails to make sure that students don't make poor decisions when they're in a vulnerable state, when they need to be learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think, and that's a very complex, broad issue that we don't have time to unpack. But
yeah. And
like
it is
like
an
there are
issue that
people
is
that
going to
are-
keep developing as well over
Yeah.
time as more people start using AI, more students use AI.
Yeah.
And we see a decline in their critical thinking abilities. You'll see a decline in how they perform outside in the real world.
Yeah.
Because school is one thing, it's a controlled environment. But once you get out into the real world, try to get jobs or try to even just communicate to people
Yeah.
or just have normal conversations, soon it's just going to be one AI talking to another AI.
Do you know what worries me as well? I worry about dementia risk, like at a young age, because so the learning you do early in life decreases your risk of dementia,
Yeah.
because it creates a cognitive buffer. And there are heaps of stuff like how healthy you are, your
diet,
your
and all of
like physical exercise, how fit are you? But of all of those things, the cognitive effort that you put forward and you develop early in life creates a buffer between you and dementia. And I'm really worried. I'm so worried about this generation that's growing up with AI. Like you and me will be in like our 80s, and there'll be people younger than us, like by decades, developing dementia symptoms.
Wow.
That's
really
scary. And I like, this is me. I have there's not a lot of research, I think, done into that space, but just looking at the MIT study and looking at what I see in the classroom and seeing like how also
it's
noticing
negatively impacting students. Yeah.
And I think everybody who uses AI kind of goes down a little bit of an AI psychosis journey, where you notice how dependent you start to become. And if you don't pull yourself back from it, like you can see if you don't have that self-control, like
it can be scary.
It's scary. Yeah, that actually really scares me.
This ties really well into the research paper. They ran a survey across 320 plus students, Gen Z students, right, in India, around how they're using AI or engaging with AI. And the interesting result that they received was all these students are extremely dependent on AI. Not because they need it, but think about India as contextually, right? India is a highly competitive environment.
Yeah.
Right? You have to really be in the top, echelon to really make it. If you want to get to a good university or whatever.
This population size is insane.
It's insane, right? And to add to that, when you have something that's going to give you better results, gives you results that sound intelligible. You're like, ooh, this thing can give me answers that seem better than my own answers.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a high reliance on
Keyword
AI.
seem.
Yeah, seem. High reliance on this thing because it seems like an authority. So all these students are using AI aggressively. Now, there's also other nuances to this because when they looked at the genders, male, female, and use of AI, there was a much larger percentage of males using AI as opposed to females. Weird. They haven't...
No. I get it.
It's because of lack of access to the infrastructure
I thought, like, generally I find unmasked, like my female students tend to be more conscientious. And,
could be that as well.
And geared towards like sitting down and actually going through the work. Whereas
could be that as well. Men go straight into.
Yeah, it's good for, I think.
I need a solution.
Yeah.
Give me the solution now. That's all I need. Yep. So that could be another reason why. But the conclusion of the survey was students are using AI like already. They're revolutionizing the use of AI, let's say. But teachers, on the other hand, aren't. They're kind of going, oh, this is scary. Some teachers go, no, can't use AI. I don't know what this is. This is too scary. But you have students that are already fully reliant on AI.
Golly.
And it's scary because the question then is, are schools leading the AI revolution or are students the ones leading the AI revolution and teachers and schools just trying to play catch up?
Yeah.
Because that's the scary thing, right? We live in a world where AI is very normal now. Everyone's using it.
Yeah.
Students are using it. But if schools don't really know or teachers don't really know how to navigate this space, that's a problem.
Do you know, this makes me think about, you and I, we're millennials. We have a similar situation that we grew up in. Social media.
Yes.
Right? Like we led the way in social media use and our parents weren't ready for it. And it was really bad. Like I think we could both agree that if we had the option, if we could have like, say, removed social media as a factor in our upbringing, no-brainer. I would rather it have not existed. I think you're right. It is absolutely the same thing where students are more readily adopting these things. Millennials were more readily able to adopt instant messenger and Facebook and MySpace more than adults. Students are now adopting AI quicker than adults. I think it's because at that age you have the time for it. Like when you're young, this is also why it's important, by the way, to write the essay, to do the maths, to do this work, because you have the time to learn.
Yes.
When you're a kid, you have all the time in the world to
wait till you go to that 9 to 5, man.
Up. Yeah, when that 6, 7 becomes 9 to 5, suddenly you have responsibilities and your time gets gobbled up. We're fathers,
and you never. That's what I was just about to say.
This is a funny thing. When I was like single, I thought I was super busy. Yeah. Then I got married. I was like, oh, I wasted a lot of time. Then I had a daughter. I wasted so much time before I had a daughter. Like you realize, how much time you have on your hands.
You're never going to have a time in your life when you're going to have more time than you have right now.
Yeah.
Is the best message for young people who are in school or university. Like the amount of time they spend just twiddling their thumbs or just scrolling through social media.
This is how adults, I think, can help pave the way is, first of all, I think the danger of AI is that life will speed up because we can be more productive. Anybody who has the influence to determine the pace of somebody else's life in this age needs to err on the side of slowing down because adults need to be equipped to actually consider questions of what is the right way to use AI. And you can't do that if you're speed running your way through life, trying to be hyper productive. AI needs to be used to do the right things efficiently so that we can actually take the time saved and use it for the empty contemplative space that we've lost over time. Because students have a lot of time on their hands, even if they don't realize it. And that's what leads them to being able to explore things like AI. It's what allowed us to explore the internet and social media. And you become an expert beyond those who don't have the time to do that. I think it's why adults tend not to pave the way in things is because young people just have more time, which might end up being another one of those spicy Instagram hot takes that producer Gabby really likes, because I remember this. I remember being young and thinking to myself, man, I wish I had more time. But it's not until you reflect backwards, right, that you realize that, oh, it's not that I didn't have time. I filled my time. I filled my time with my interests. And you fill your time to the brim with your interests. So you don't have a lot of empty time. You never have empty time in life, but you don't always have that much time to fill with your interests.
And I think tying it all back into why my tea trade exists as well, that India study just showcased how teachers need to be the ones that create the guardrails to help students think critically.
Yeah.
Right? And yes, teachers don't have the time to really understand how to prompt AI. Hence we exist, where we've built the guardrails to help have that easy first step for them to use AI. And yes, maybe some teachers might go, this is amazing. I'm going to take it to the next level and build my own bot. Go for it. Do
How dare you? No.
But go for it, do that, you know? But for others who absolutely have no time, this is a great first step to explore what AI can do and also get an understanding of what students are already doing. And help them think more critically, be on the same cutting edge of technology that they're in, in a way.
Here's a hot take.
Yes.
The best way to be on the cutting edge of this technology? Remove laptops from the classroom.
Oh man, go back to pen and paper.
Do it.
Go back to pen and paper.
Get rid of the laptop. No more laptops. Do you know what? Bring back the computer lab. Get rid of those laptops.
With the 1990s.
Oh, heck no. Bring in like an iMac or something. But bring back the computer lab. Get the laptops out of the classroom. Bookwork. Make them write stuff. Right?
Yes.
Use brains. Remove the potential for them to
This is a tangent, but Gabby and I were talking about how spelling, being able to spell correctly, has drastically dropped.
I've noticed it myself, actually. I need to do some revision on some of the morphemes. Because, it's a real thing. I've told you before how much I love my school. The head of English at my school, a phenomenal teacher, like one of the best. She's brought in like a program for the junior secondary that essentially like goes as a refresher for students on like spelling and morphemes and grammar. And it's really structured and it is showing some amazing results. Really just getting us back on track with like reading, writing
Bringing
well.
back to the standard.
Yeah, and I'm stoked about it.
That's really good.
I'm really stoked about it.
Yeah, see, stuff like this is good. Like technology is great when you can do things like this to bring our standards back. I think mental math should come back too.
Here's a spicy take. No,
Yes.
it's not a spicy take. I need to. Here's a postulation.
I have no idea what that means.
Oh, really?
Keep talking. Let me Google postulation.
The postulate is like a wanky way of saying like a prediction.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to waffle about it.
Yes.
It's a prediction that you share openly as you come up with the prediction.
I'm going to use that now.
Yeah.
I have a postulation.
I would like to postulate.
I would like to postulate.
If you allow me the opportunity to proselytize my postulation before you all.
That's really cool.
Proselytize just means like spread a message.
Oh my God.
I reckon, like moving forward, there's going to be an emphasis on, and I don't know if this is going to be a good thing, but I reckon there's going to actually be a preference towards more raw, unedited content.
Yes. It already is starting.
Yeah. Oh, really?
People, yeah. Like you look at socials, bro, you're 5 steps behind me.
I'm 5 steps behind, but 10 steps ahead.
You have postulated what's already postulated. A few years ago, like content needed to be extremely polished, right? You use the best camera, best lighting, and you wanted polished content. But now it's just talking head, man. You just randomly wear whatever you wear and you're just ranting on camera as authentically as possible. That's what's winning.
Here's my prediction. I wonder if it'll start to bleed into the workspace, like into the professional realm.
Yes, I think it will. I think it will. Everyone's wanting to come back to a more authentic, real, raw sort of human aspect of life. And with AI being everywhere at the moment,
ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous. You want people to just come back to being normal social beings.
Yeah, you just want to know that the person you're talking to is real.
Yeah.
I've noticed this in myself. This is the last thing I'll say because then we got to wrap up. Sometimes when I'm marking student work, I actually breathe a sigh of relief when I see a bunch of errors. I'm like, oh, yes.
Finally. Yeah.
I know this is real. Like, how crazy is that?
Is
actually,
crazy.
I'm starting to like mentally, psychologically prefer.
Imagine they're just
subpar.
adding the errors on purpose. Like,
sometimes they do, but it's surprisingly obvious.
Oh, really? Okay. Cool.
We'll talk about that, in the next episode.
Another episode. SOS call out. So under our post where Jacob explains the pains of behavior management.
Oh, yes.
Hannah Harris 691 on Instagram said, also, teachers see your child in the context of a large group of their peers. They compare them to similar age peers. The behavior management is not flawless, but is considered and generally works. Increased class sizes and overly aggressive parent conversation stresses the success of the system.
I agree. If by stresses you mean like put strain on, I think absolutely, because disciplining a child is very difficult. And maybe we don't get it right all the time, but it can be quite effective if you allow the system to actually work and you allow there to be consequences for students. We were saying this in the context of parenting, right?
Yep.
If there's a clear consequence, then discipline occurs. But yeah, thank you, Hannah, for recognizing. Increased class size makes it so difficult. The more students you have,
the more kids you have to discipline.
And that compounds the time that it takes to actually follow up.
And get the outcome that you're after as well.
Yeah.
Tabitha on TikTok says, same video, but a
video.
completely different comment, I think, or different view. Completely disagree with this. There can be bad teachers that do not care. I've seen it in my own personal experiences as well as in my job when I attend schools. Humans are humans.
Yeah, but completely disagree. So there are no teachers that care about students. I completely disagree with that.
But there can be bad teachers. I think that's
there
what
can be bad teachers. Yeah, I would grant that there are teachers that don't give a rip. I think get those teachers out of the profession.
They're not meant to be teaching.
Yeah, they're not meant to be teaching. I can say in my school, teachers love the students. The teachers that I know, the teachers that I've interacted with love their students and only want what's best for them. I'm sure that as with any job, there are people who phone it in. I think that those people probably shouldn't be teaching, but the examples that I have personally seen and the examples of excellent teaching, when I see an excellent teacher, they're an excellent because they care about their students.
Yes.
In the hands of an excellent teacher, discipline is essential. It's an essential part of the job. For each of my students, if I'm trying to discipline, it's because I look at that student and I think, I want you to be the best human being that you can possibly be. And I want to do that in the least invasive way possible. I don't get my jollies off of like punishing people, right? Like I don't want to do that. I want to be in the classroom.
You're a sadistic human being if you find joy in
it. Yeah, you are. All right. Like a good teacher who cares about their students doesn't want to discipline. They're not in it to discipline. They're in it to educate and to have fun with the content.
And if they discipline, it's for the student's benefit, not
it's for a reason.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you guys. Thanks for listening. We love yous.